Welcome to another episode of the Electric Bison, and it's another beautiful day in Florida. Yesterday was a big day for Kathy and I. We've had a lot of good days here, but at the end of the day we decided that we're not going to purchase a place here in Florida. We're not going to, and a lot went into that decision, but we advised the real estate people and the loan people that we're going to still be Montanans for the foreseeable future. And that's a good feeling. Kathy's out with her daughter having a good time somewhere, and I'm sitting here in this boat on this channel off the intercoastal waterway. And I'm thinking about my Irish ancestors. You know, they were from Cork, all of them. They were from Cork. And if you look at the Kinmar River between Cork and Kerry, there's three real sharp rocks that come up out of the Atlantic Ocean there. The biggest one's called Skellig Michael, and my daughter and grandson and I, we went out there one time. We climbed up to 700 feet of that thing and saw the old beehive huts. And it was really cool. It's the same place that's on the introduction to one of the Star Wars films, where Luke Skywalker's out there as an old man in those beehive huts. Anyhow, it's for real. And these crazy Irishmen were out there for at least 700 years in the Christian era, and maybe they before the Christian era as monks, 12 at a time. They'd live off of eggs and seaweed and gosh knows what. They used cisterns to catch their water. But at about 1200, AD, when there was a change in the conditions out there, and they were forced to come inland to where they would put out to go out into the ocean, and they started a monastery there. And so I was going through looking at the graves in that monastery, and sure enough, there was at least 3 Driscolls that I could find, and there was a bunch of Sullivans, and God knows how many other relatives or ancestors were in that crew. But you could look right across from Skellig Michael to Kilcatherine. Kilcatherine's on the north shore of the Barra Peninsula at Iries, and that's where my family most directly came from. They came over and went to Butte, got to be miners after being in Central City, Colorado. They were miners down there too. But anyhow, it's quite impressive. You'll learn a lot of history by looking at your own ancestry. And that's very much on my mind today, because I think I've got a bunch of sea blood in me. I really like being around the ocean. Yesterday we were out on the intercoastal waterway, just really enjoying ourselves. It's beautiful. Plus, when you're out there, we saw, I don't know, a dozen dolphins all together jumping around our boat. It's beautiful. We saw some more manatee. There's manatee right here in this water behind me. They come in, and I saw 4 the day before yesterday. There's a couple of them coming in together, and I'm told that they come in here and they'll mate, and then they'll bring their kidlets back in here. They're pretty cool. They're about the exact opposite of grizzly bears. They're not very aggressive. They're certainly big. And somebody was telling me that when the first sailors got here with Christopher Columbus down to this part of the world, his sailors thought they were mermaids. I thought, my God, those guys must have been really hard up. They'd been eating shoe leather by the time they got here, but women, they were probably pretty hard up, so I could see that. But anyhow, I just like them for what they are, and that's probably, there's egrets, and there's blue herons, and there's all kinds of different ducks. Then there's a cormorant. That's the bird that flies, and then it's a black, got a long neck, goes down in the water, gets some fish, comes back up, swims around, goes back out, flies. And that cormorant's on our family coat of arms, along with a twin-masted sailboat. So I think I'm from a sailing family. I know I am when I'm down here. So just because of that, and because when I went down to the St. Jerome's, just down the road a piece, about a mile, they had a whole bunch of stuff about St. Brendan, the sailor, the navigator. You know, about not being afraid of what's out in front of you. I mean, you have to be pretty confident. You set out in a small boat with, you know, a dozen or so guys. You better be confident in your skills. Anyhow, I put in here a song that I heard when I was in Ireland on the Shannon River at a pub there one night early, in, you know, about 2 o'clock in the morning. And it's called The Voyage of St. Brendan. It's kind of fun. They say the guy took off, and he stopped in Long Island, you know, just to pick up holy water or candles. There's variations. And that's when they discovered America, you know, like 900 years before Columbus. Then he went off and discovered Honolulu and Terra del Fuego, and he found Australia, and he found Japan and China. Finally, after quite a few years at sea, he came back to Ireland because he was kind of interested in getting a woman. He was about 70 years old by then, so he might have looked at some of these manatees and thought they were mermaids. Anyhow, he had a friend who was in Albatross, and he goes up, he lands at Dingle, he goes up to see if he can introduce himself around, and when they found out he was interested in finding a woman, they went, "Oh my God, you're a wreck." He was 70, I'm 79. But anyhow, he was discouraged. Went back down, got in his boat, and his Albatross was waiting there for him. He said, "Glad to see you, boss." Well, we're going back to Montana, kind of like St. Brendan went back to his boat. I don't know if anybody's going to be glad to see us, but we sure like Montana. It's where we belong. And so you might want to play this song about St. Brendan's voyage. Take care.